Around a year back, I was someone who is pretty new to this keyboard hobby and making YouTube videos. And back then, one of my favorite things was to search around the internet looking for the amazing value mechanical keyboards, especially on Aliexpress. One day, I suddenly stumbled upon this specific 10 kilos mechanical keyboard in Aliexpress, and I was really impressed seeing the specifications. 5-pin Hotswappable PCB, double-shot PBT keycaps, great dampening, Kailh Box Switches, and awesome packaging for just around $80. At that time, the only decent TKL at that price I knew of was Razer Huntsman TE and HyperX Alloy Origin Score. Yeah, time passes, doesn't it? Afterwards, I started digging a bit on the Reddit, found out that some people are really liking it. So I set up my mind and immediately pulled the trigger on this keyboard. Received the package after a month and I immediately fell in love with this keyboard. Why not? I didn't see any other better pre-built keyboard, let alone TKL, in this price range before. Right away, I started recommending this keyboard to the fellow members of my country's keyboard community. Fast forward to 2022 February, and boy oh boy, this is one of my best keyboard finding till date. Nowadays, this is a staple keyboard here in our country, and I think this deserves a bigger global attention. Does this keyboard still hold up to the 2022 standards of mechanical keyboards? I'm presenting the long-term review of Capturer KT87, plus a giveaway announcement for reaching 1000 subscribers. Stay tuned. Yeah, I do agree. I was supposed to make that video long ago. So far, I have only uploaded some sound tests. But to be honest, I believe in sharing long-term experiences so that you can make an informed purchase decision. Over the last 10 months, I used this keyboard extensively and also modded the hell out of it to make it even better. So I'll cover all of this in this video. Okay, first, let's cut to the chase and explain why this is the best value pre-built 10 kilos mechanical keyboard I've ever tried. This is your standard 10 kilos keyboard, that is, a full-size keyboard minus the numpad that comes with Kailh Box Switches, cherry profile double-shot PBT keycaps, 5-pin Hotswappable PCB, full RGB with north-facing LED, factory lubed and clipped stabilizers, all for around $65 nowadays. Isn't that a compelling package? Currently, you can get it in a few colorways: the Nautilus, Graphite, Amethyst, and Sea Salt with their matching keycap set, which we are gonna talk about a bit later on. For this review, I wanted to show as many variants as possible. The Nautilus one here is the one I bought it by myself, and the rest were provided by Lunar Gaming Gears for trying it out and showcasing it. Lunar Gaming Gears is one of the most prominent shops in Bangladesh selling keyboard accessories, mouse, and whatnot. Check the link in the description for details. Inside of the box, you will get the board itself with a dust cover, which is gonna be really helpful if you live in a dusty environment. Also in the box, there is a set of novelties, a set of matching extra numpad keycaps, a braided Type-C cable, keyboard manual, and switch keycap puller combo. Pretty standard stuffs you need to use the keyboard in your day-to-day life. So this keyboard is made with ABS plastic. It has a single stage adjustable feet at the bottom with 4 rubber feets. The USB input is Type-C, is slightly off-center with the input flushed in deep in a chamber. People with OCD might find this placement a bit odd, but I was actually fine with it. And the good part is, if you use a custom Kailh cable, they will fit in just fine. And the keyboard is a looker for sure. The themed keycaps with matching color looks absolutely gorgeous. It comes with steel plate and mounting style is tray mount, like most other pre-built keyboards out there. The keycaps are cherry profile double-shot PBT keycaps for all the iterations except for the Sea Salt variant, which comes with thick die-sub PBT keycaps. These are pretty high quality keycaps for sure. They are well textured, legends are sharp, and novelties are amazing. WinXP or Capturer is actually pretty popular for making keycaps, so no wonder these keycaps turn out to be great. I love this keycap set. And like I've said before, they match perfectly with the case color. As you already know, the keycaps are cherry profile and the LED is in north facing orientation. So you might ask the most important question of all time. Will it have interference? Firstly, I'd like to clarify that the interference thing only happens with the row 3 keycaps. Secondly, the manufacturer did a smart thing over there. Use stock switches with which there will be no interference at north facing orientation. Then again, as it is a hot swap board, you can adapt to the switches that doesn't have any such interference issue these days, like those dust-proof switches or long pole stem switches. These days, many brands are designing switches to avoid having such issues occurring in the future. So down the line in the future, I don't think you have to worry about it that much. The board comes with 5-pin Hotswappable PCB with tested KL Hotswap sockets supporting all MX style switches. That's a pretty neat and standard feature for pre-built keyboard these days. Plus, there is a Poron dampener between the PCB and plate to tame the hollowness. The stabilizers are plate mounted, comes directly factory looped and pre-clipped, and they sound great at stock. Check this out. So this, being a hot swap board, means you can swap off the switches or even easily modify the board down the line. This kind of features once used to be in custom boards only. Now more and more pre-built keyboards are adopting these features and flexibility. Okay, now let's talk about the switches. The first generation of this board came with these options: linear, Kailh Box Red, clicky Kailh Box White, and tactile FL.CMMK Sakura Pink switches, also known as the Pink Panda switches. I bought the one with the Sakura Pink switches as it's a pretty interesting tactile switch and I wanted to try some tactile switch. Let me talk about these switches a bit because there aren't that many information on the internet about this switch. So this is a pretty interesting tactile switch that has 45 gram of actuation force, 60 gram of bottom out force with 3.5mm bottom out distance. This is a 5-pin PCB mounted switch made by Kailh. The switch has a long pole stem and it is similar to that of Halo True switches. It is not a heavy tactile, sort of light to mid tactility where the bump starts right at the top. If you're someone who types a bit fast, you're gonna feel the tactility while typing and I guess you're gonna like it as well. At least I liked it. As a downside, it's a sort of pingy sound which you can mitigate by using thinner loops like tribosses. So at past, this switch was available to buy for 1.8 yuan per switch. But for some reason, FL.CMMK stopped producing these switches. But I think if you dig in a bit, you can still find these switches. In the second iteration, the Pink Panda switch has been replaced by the Huano HolyTom V1 switches. This is also another tactile switch which is similar to Pink Panda switches. It also has a long pole stem, it has a decent tactility, but unfortunately it's a pretty scratchy. I personally didn't like that switch because I am habituated with smoother switches, but if you are someone who will be trying out tactile switches first or haven't tried anything beyond Gator Brown, I think you're not gonna feel that scratch that much and you might like it. So just a heads up before buying. So as I've said earlier, these boards support full spectrum of RGB color space with Perky RGB. You can either change them from the hotkeys or through the software. So let's take a quick peek into some of the RGB modes. Speaking of the software, it's pretty basic but handy. In addition to the controlling RGB, you can remap the keys and set a macro too. To be fair, it gets the job done, not in the level of Corsair IQ or Razer Synapse. But in addition to all this board also has NQ rollover and 1000Hz polling rate, so the gamer boys and girls won't have anything to worry about. Now I'm done with talking about all those features of the board, but how this board sounds and feel at the stock. Coming up, the stock sound test of KT87. As you can all hear, the board sounds quite good at stock. And if you're someone who is trying to get a decent pre-built board, you'll love to hear the stock sound performance. This board is actually really good in pre-built form. It comes in packed with so many neat features. It's an instant recommendation for me even at the stock condition. No wonder I like this board so much and simp over it. You can just buy it and forget and keep on living your normal life. So now you might ask how this keyboard has been holding up in this long-term usage. In short, absolutely great. I didn't face any issue with the board so far. The PCB seems solid with no issues. And I haven't also seen any issues with connectivity so far yet or even firmware. Even I haven't heard of any malfunction or dead on arrival cases here in my country as well. But over the longer usage period, the stabilizer loops started to dry up a bit and slight rattle started to appear. Something a bit of a lubing would fix. Plus, if I talk about the keycaps, they have been going great so far without any issues. But I have seen some cases of stock enter key interfering with the stabs. In that case, I will suggest folks to use the novelty enter key instead of the stock one. And also, I have seen some cases where spacebar stabilizer wire wasn't balanced and there was a slight ticking and rattling. And since this board has a plate mounted stabilizer, it's easy to take apart the stabilizer and fix it. But you all know me, I love to make the boards even better down the line. So let's do that to my Nautilus themed board. So this is gonna be your modding guide. So some of the mods will be applicable to many other pre-built Hotswappable keyboards out there. Now I will be announcing my first giveaway of the channel, sponsored by Easy Gadgets on the occasion of my 1K subscriber count. They have been a great supporter of my channel since the beginning. Easy Gadgets for the first time has launched their own Cordura mousepad. I'll be giving that away to one of my subscribers. The giveaway description will be down in the pinned comment. Make sure to participate. Unfortunately, this giveaway will be limited to the viewers of Bangladesh only since the vendor is local. However, please support me to reach higher sub count so that I can host giveaways in collaboration with renowned global vendors too. You guys have been supporting me a lot and I want to give something back to the supporters. Okay, so first, disassembly of the board. There is a small protrusion at the top frame right beside the enter key. Pry that and the top frame will come loose. Next, remove all the screws. As you can see, the case is pretty empty. Now the first thing would be to fix this matter. I cut in EVA foam and put in 2 layers of them, followed by a thin layer of neoprene foam. That should do it and will help in reducing the hollowness. Next, separating the plate and the PCB. Just remove the screws at the back of the PCB and the plate will be separated from PCB. Now you can see the Poron dampener used between the PCB and plate. Next, I did the Tempe Mod. So this is basically combining the two best keyboard mods out there, Tempe Mod and PE foam mod. So what I did was at first put in a layer of surgical tape at the back of the PCB, then wrapping the whole PCB with the PE foam and then putting another layer of tape at the back of the PCB. The objective is to bring out the sound of the switches with pop. Always make sure to use the non-conductive PE foam, otherwise you might short your PCB. Next, I took care of the stabilizers. They were already great, but I just relubed them with the Krytox 205 grade 0 and dielectric grease to make sure they perform even better. With all said and done, let's hear the sound test now. Here I've tried with 2 switches. Firstly with the stock FL.CMMK pink Panda switches and then JWK black switches. Let's hear it. Yeah, I'm actually proud of what I've done so far. But that's not all. There will be a surprise sound test at the end of the video with one of my favorite high-end tactile switches. And I think you can guess what it is. Okay, after all this, how this board fare versus the competition in the similar price bracket? Honestly, pretty damn better. Even better than some of those gaming keyboards which cost between $80 and $100. Although there are boards like Razer Huntsman TE and HyperX Alloy Origin Score at those sub $100 price range, KT87 is a whole lot better than those, unless you want those hyper-responsive optical switches. Then there are the budget pre-builds like Dario 87 V2, which might be a bit ahead in terms of stock switches and wireless connectivity, but overall not good sounding board at stock and fall short on the keycap versus the KT87. And then there is also Keychron C and K series counterparts that fall short on the keycaps and the software department. Also there is FL.CMMK CMK87, but that costs more than $100 US. And then there are TKL bare-bones kit like FL.CMMK MK870, Warmere K87, Epomaker GK87 and much more. But not everyone wants to go for the custom route. Some prefer going for a good pre-built and call it a day. And KT87 is that board. The only other board that can give this a run for its money is that FL.CMMK GP87, which is a pretty recent launch. Make sure to stay tuned to my channel for the coverage on this as well. Actually, TKL form factor is a great entry point for both non-enthusiasts and the folks who are new to this hobby. For both of this crowd, I think KT87 is a great consideration. In terms of what it offers at its price point, it remains way ahead from the rest of the counterparts. And even to this date, I absolutely recommend this keyboard for your day-to-day usage, gaming and whatnot. I hope Capturer will do some upgrades in his future iteration and even maybe release a better version of KT87 down the line. With all that, I'm wrapping up today's video. If you liked the video, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Share your thoughts in the comment section. Less than 5% of you folks are subscribed to my channel. I would really appreciate your sub and continuous support to the channel as it makes me work hard for making better contents. It takes a lot of time to make all these videos and a little bit of support will help me in the long run. Thank you all for watching the video. Ending the video with the promised sound test. Goodbye.